Okay, so we are looking at practice 11.8. First, we're finding the surface area of a sphere. Okay, so if you were to take a sphere, like if you think of a baseball and you were to cut it up and take the seams out of a baseball or a tennis ball, you'd get these two shapes that look kind of like this. And so it kind of resembles four circles. And the surface area of a sphere is going to equal just that. It's going to be the same um, as the area of four circles. So 4 times pi r squared. Okay? So all we have to know is the radius to find the surface area of a sphere. So my surface area here, 4 times pi r squared. My radius is 2. Okay? So I've got 4 pi times 4, and that is going to be 16 pi. Since it's area, I want square units, so square inches in this case, and then 16 pi is about 50.27 if you want a decimal approximation. Okay, same formula here. The radius. Oh, I don't know the radius yet. Okay, so we got to do a little side problem here. I got ahead of myself. So I need the radius. So let's go ahead and find that. So I've got the circumference of the sphere, which actually is the same as the circumference of this circle right there. Okay. So the circumference formula is 2 pi r, and then my circumference is 8 pi. So I can say 2 pi r equals 8 pi. And now I can find the radius. Okay. So those cancel, the pi's cancel, and then my radius is 4. Okay. So I've got 4 pi. My radius then was 4. And so that's my setup. So I'm going to do the squaring first. So I got 4 pi times 16. And 4 times 16 is 64. So I've got 64 pi. This would be square feet. Or decimal, that's about 201.06. Okay. All right, find the radius of a sphere with a surface area of 36 pi square meters. So they told me the surface area. So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's the formula. So I can say 4 pi r squared would equal 36 pi. And I'm just going to solve this for r. So I want to get the r squared by itself first, so I'll divide both sides by 4 pi. So the 4 pi's cancel. Also the pi's cancel. So r squared will equal 9. And then if you take the square root of both sides, you could say r could be positive or negative 3, but since it's a radius, it has to be positive 3. You can't have a negative radius to a circle. So my radius is going to be 3 meters. Okay. All right, next up, find the diameter of a sphere with a surface area of 80 pi. So it's very similar to the last problem. I'm going to find the radius first, same way I did in the last problem, but then I'll double that to find the diameter. Okay, so surface area is 80 pi. That means 4 pi r squared equals 80 pi. Divide by 4 pi. Pi's cancel there. 80 divided by 4 is 20. Okay, so my radius is going to be the square root of 20. I can put that in simple radical form. So let's go ahead and do that. So, 4 times 5 is 20, or 2 times 2 times 5. So I got a pair of twins in there. So one of those gets out, one doesn't, right? So my radius is 2 root 5. Okay? And then that means my diameter is going to be twice that. My diameter is 2 times 2 root 5, which is going to be 4 root 5. So I could leave it like that, or I can do a decimal approximation. 4 root 5 comes out to about 8.94. Okay. All right, and then on to volume. So the volume formula, I don't have a little story about how to memorize the volume formula. I'm just going to have to tell you what it is. So the volume formula for a sphere is going to be 4/3 pi r to the third. Third because 3 dimensions volume, right? Okay. All right, so all you need here is the radius, which we've got in this one. We don't quite have it here because we've got the diameter, but hey, now I've got the radius, right? Okay, so I'm just going to plug in 3 for my radius here. And don't forget that's the third. I almost just squared that on accident. So I'm doing the exponent first. Okay, and then 4 times 9 is 36, so 36 pi over 3. And I can reduce the 36 over 3 into 12 pi. So it's this many cubic feet, always cubic for volume. Or that comes out to 37.70, roughly. Okay, all right, over here, volume equals 4/3 pi r to the third. Again, my radius is 15, not 30, so watch out there. Definitely need a calculator to see what 15 to the third is. It's 3,375. So I take 3,375 times 4. This gives me that. Let's see if I can divide by 3. I can. This comes out to 4,500 pi. So it'd be this many cubic centimeters, or about 14,137.17. Okay. All right, on to the next page. Find the volume of a sphere with a surface area. So the radius is the key on all of these spheres because it tells you how big the sphere is, right? And that's the only thing that really matters with a sphere. Let's see. Surface area formula is 4 pi r squared. So I could say 4 pi r squared equals 4 pi. And that should allow me to solve for the radius. So let's divide by 4 pi to isolate r squared. R squared then will equal 1, and that square root of 1 is 1, or negative 1, but that doesn't make sense for a radius. So my radius is 1, and now I can find the volume, right? 4/3 pi r to the third, and I just figured out what the radius was. Okay, 1 to the third is just 1, so this is going to be 4/3 pi, be cubic inches. And that would come out to about 4.19. That's a decimal. Okay. Next up, find the volume of a sphere. It's the same as the last problem. We're given the surface area, so I know 4 pi r squared is going to equal 676 pi. Okay, so I'll divide both sides by 4 pi. Pi's cancel there, so let's see, 676 divided by 4 comes out to 169. Okay, and then I take the square root of both sides, and it just so happens that's going to come out to an even 13. Okay, so my radius is 13, and now I can find the volume. Okay, and I'll start with cubing the 13. That's 2,197. Okay, I'll multiply that by 4. Okay, and let's see if I can reduce any. I can't, so I gotta leave it like this. It's that many cubic inches, or about 9,202.77. Okay, last but not least, we've got this ice cream cone. We're going to find the volume of the composite solid. So we're just going to add together the two bits, right? But remember that the top of this is just a semisphere. So we're not going to use the volume formula for a whole sphere because we're only using half of it. Okay. But for both of those, the radius is 9, and then here my height is 18. Okay. All right. So let's find this. So I'm thinking, okay, volume formula for a sphere is 4/3 pi r squared. But since I've only got half of a sphere, I think I said 4/3 pi r squared, but I meant pi r to the third. So that's what I'm going to use for my semisphere, right? It's just half of a sphere. Okay. All right. So let's see. Plugging in the 9 there. Okay. 9 to the third is 729. Okay, let's see, 729 times 4 is 2,916. Okay, and then on bottom, in my denominator, I've got 2 times 3 if I multiply straight across. So let's see if I can reduce that any. It's going to give me 486 pi. Okay, I'll just leave that alone for now, but that's the volume of my semisphere. All right, and then let's move to the cone. So cone, we've got 1/3 area of the base times the height. Area of the base I'll get with pi r squared since it's a circle. And then my height is 18. Okay, so then I've got 1/3 81 pi times 18. 81 times 18 is going to be 1,458. I think I can reduce that. Yeah, it's going to come out. Oh, look at this, 486 pi again. Interesting. Okay, so I got the same thing on both sides. So find the volume of the whole thing. We're going to add those two together. That gives me 972 pi. And my units here would be cubic centimeters. And that comes out to 3,053.63. Off screen as usual at the end of the problem. All right, and there we go. Okay, and that is the end. And I'll see you later.